Y'all heard it, not out of my mouth. I'm always saying the initial buyer consult is so important, but y'all heard her say it is important and it helps. All right, next question. What was your biggest fear about buying a home?
We keeping it real.
Keep it real. I have to keep it real.
Okay, about being broke. I'm like, we're travel buddies too. I'm like, okay, so it's the difference between what I pay monthly and rent is gonna be significantly different from mortgage. So it's like, okay, can I budget that? So what I did was I just started like a savings fund, actually with Juanita as my bank. So I would pay what I would guesstimate would be my monthly mortgage payment. I had already started paying that to see did my life change drastically, and it didn't. So I was like, I'm not even missing this. So why not just go ahead and start investing into something that's mine, that's gonna create like a different revenue and stuff. So I was like, hey, but yeah, that was my biggest fear, is just being broke, and that fear was my reality.
I love that. And she came up with the going ahead and start paying a mortgage before she had a mortgage. She came up with that all on her own. And I thought that was an excellent idea. So if you had never purchased a home and you kind of like, how will life be if I'm paying X amount a month? Then find someone you trust or store it away in an account yourself and just see what it would be like to pay a little bit extra and how life will be. But I really love that you did that in your journey. All right. So next question. I like for my clients to really, really explore financing options in the beginning of the search. Do you think that's a wise strategy?
It's a wise strategy, but you gotta be tough. It is, I don't know anyone who just wakes up and says, I like paperwork. Even secretaries, administrative assistants don't like the amount of paperwork, and that's what it is. My advice to you would be get it all together, store it in like one folder. They're asking for the same thing over and over and over again. So when they ask for it, you already have it ready to go. But being honest, it's the honest interview, right?
It's an honest interview.
It's a headache. It got better once you got organized. Once it's like, okay, it's just like shopping. You shop around for the best deal, and nothing changes in this market of real estate. You're shopping around for the best deal, who can give you the best rates.
And like I had her, she was a great sport because honestly, she was like, I don't want to apply with anybody else. I'm like, I need you to. We have to explore more than just one. And so we did 2 to 3, possibly 4. But like she said, once she had everything organized in her file, then the next time she went to see, okay, what does this program offer? And I need my docs. Boom, I can just shoot and email them to you. Now, once those lenders get them, sometimes they eat those documents. I don't know what they do, because a lot of times they will be like, hey, did you upload this? And you're like, yes, it's there. Did you experience a little bit of that?
A little bit. I'm asking for the same forms. Oh yeah, mainly bank statements though, but those change. But the stuff like the IDs and stuff, they didn't. Maybe I got lucky, but I got good once I really didn't experience resubmitting the same paperwork. I overdo other than things that changed. But yeah, it was.
She made it through it.
She did. That's the best thing I can say. I made it through it. That's probably my least favorite process in it, is just getting approved. Get approval takes what? 24 hours or something?
Yeah, depends. It could take 24 hours depending on the lender, or in certain programs, it can take like 30 days. Because she had to do some homebuyer classes. There's certain things that I wanted her to be approved for just in case. So it all depends, and doing it before you start the home search is really key, because once you start the home search, we find the home. That's not the time that we try to get your documents and stuff together, because it can go fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So good job there. Okay. Next question, moving right along. Did you ever think that you could buy a home and actually get money back at the closing table?
Not in a million years. I always said, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, I always thought you have to bring like $20,000-$30,000 to the closing table. So to think that I could actually get money back from the purchase, no, I never thought that.
And you're right, because it can. Some of my clients have had to come to the table with 20, 30, depending on a lot of factors. But as her realtor, I knew like, hey, we got some programs out there that can save, because she was good. She already had money saved up and could do it. But it's like, if we don't have to spend it and the deal works, then let's not spend it. So we actually, her realtor got her money back at the closing table. So enough said about that. All right, next question. Moving right along. Okay, once the physical search got going, how important do you think knowing what you wanted and needed was?
Very important. If we had to do a top 10, I will put that at a strong number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I did, you'll like to share.
I would like to ask Sarah, like, how did you compare homes? Because we were going through home after home after home. So how did you compare?
Well, before even comparing, I had my list of, and I sent it to Juanita, of my, I have to have a garage. I have to have these certain things, the things that I just wanted, and the things that, I could budge on a little bit. So I had my list together, and then when you go to the house, like when you're looking online and stuff, you get those, what do we call those sheets, like the details?
Oh yeah, like I would have her MLS detail sheets for each home that we went to visit, so she could take notes.
So those, I collected all of those. Every home we went to in a binder, she made sure, she like, here, and taking notes, are you writing all this stuff? To make sure that, for this house, this had this, because you go to so many houses, you start to get them confused. Yeah. So you want to make your notes on what this house did have and what this house didn't have. And then you go back to your initial list of your must-haves, your I can live without, and did this meet, and how many did it meet? And I mean, for the most part, I got most of what I wanted. For some things I didn't get, but it's okay, because it met most of the pros on my list.
Right. And I really like, again, to know that you have to spend some time seeing what you really want out of a house. And then it helps me as a realtor to, if I'm out previewing, because my girl was busy. She was traveling a lot. She was working. Life was going on. And so I'm like, once I come out with her a couple of times, she had sent me her list and her needs, that I can be her eyes and ears and go preview. So it's very important that you do analyze what you need versus want, what you can budge on, and what you absolutely cannot. So I think she did a great job with that in communicating that to me as her realtor. So great job. Great job. All right. Next question, rolling right along. So we actually had a deal that we went under contract with. We were all set to close, you guys, in literally about 7 to 10 days before closing. That deal fell apart, meaning, and it was nothing she did. It was nothing I did. It was something, with the condo, something that I even checked on before we went under contract, and it still came back up. And lo and behold, we could not close on that deal. And I've done this 100 times, so I know, like, sometimes it's not, I always say it's not closed until it's closed. And so when you get that close to the closing table, it could be devastating. And there's just like this domino effect. So how did you feel once that happened?
You took the word right out of my mouth. Devastating. I'm not a controlling person, but I don't want to contradict it by saying I do like to have some sort of control. And when something is like completely out of my control, it's like, even if I wanted to, I couldn't do anything to fix it, to change it, to rectify the situation. Emotionally, you have to be strong for something like that, because you do just want to kind of take a step back. And I even told her, I said, you know what? That was in June, right? Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to search again until September. I need a break. So that's what, it's like being told no. And it's like, why? Like, but why? But I did this, and why? So, you get attached to something, especially something like a home, especially when you talk about making your list and it's checked off all the boxes. So it's like, this is for me. But I have to realize that if it was for me, it would be mine. And so since it wasn't mine, I became comfortable with realizing that it was protecting me from something. The reason why they get it, and I'm okay with it, but initially devastated. It's a devastating feeling, and my advice is just, don't give up. It's a protection, and it gets greater if you just keep going. It was just a test to say, you know what, you thought this was yours, not for real. I got something bigger and better, and literally bigger and better for me.
Yeah, it was so crazy, guys, because as a realtor, I've been through that, with other clients, and I knew, that's big. And so having the patience or working with a professional that's like, when she was like, all right, I got to take some time. It was like, yes, I understand. Take as much time as you need, and we'll get back out, because again, this is a huge purchase. So I can't have her emotionally distraught still over the last thing and then still out here trying to rush her into, something else. So I thought that was a good idea, and I was her realtor. So of course that's what we did, and it kept on going. So how did you know? Because a lot of people are like, how many houses do I have to look at before I find the one? And I can't answer that question because I don't know what's going to be the one. But how did you know when you found the one?
I think this is probably the hottest question ever, but I mean, I looked at this question, it's like, I liked it, but I didn't know it was the one until it became mine.
Really? Yeah.
And I want to say that contract follow through may have affected me in that way, because I didn't tell anybody.
Right.
I didn't send pictures out or anything. So it's like when I came into it, you actually have a video when I just didn't want to leave. You was like, okay, we got to go to the next house.
Yeah.
We got to go to the next one. I was like, no, I think like this one is checking off all the lists. But I'm a natural decorator, I guess you would say. And every house we went in, I would tell Juanita, I said, I put this here, I do this here, this here. I didn't have that feeling here. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I think it was more so the challenge, like, gosh, it meets off everything, but I don't know the direction I'm going to take it in right now. And this was the only one that I didn't get that feeling of like, this is going to go here and I'm going to do this. And I was just like, but it meets everything. So saying it's the one, I can't say it. I thought that the one that felt right was the one.
Right.
So I just kind of took that out and said, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, if it's mine, it's the one.
It's the one. Yeah, and I couldn't get them out the house. I was like, they weren't even supposed to be with me. That's a whole side conversation. I was previewing alone, and then they ended up coming with me, and she could not get out the house. Like, okay, I got several more that I need to look at, but whatevs. Okay, but it ended up being the one. So good deal there. What did you think about working with me? And you can be honest. She's my friend. She's going to be honest. What did you think about working with me?
I love every time we went out there, we went to happy hour. Yeah. And y'all do that with y'all realtor. Got fun. So you can call it. I ain't gonna, not at any time. I know this girl go to bed at 9 o'clock.
I know I do.
Yeah, but the questions, it didn't feel like, it was dumb questions or anything like that. It made me feel like, we just talking. Like, hey, a lot of times I would intentionally not talk about the process because I didn't want our friendship just to get just overpowered with just work. Yeah. Because I'm like that with my 9 to 5 and stuff. So I don't want it to be too much work. And buying a house is work. At the end of the day, it can be fun. You made it fun, but it was work.
Absolutely.
And some days I didn't want to talk house. Yeah. But it was a good experience. It was very professional. It was, she could walk in and just say no. Like, she would walk on the floors and be like, no. Or look at the paneling and no. And that's it. Or they ought to be ashamed of themselves. Like, we got catfish on some houses. Like, some of them houses look good online. And we wouldn't even go inside. Some of them like, keep going. I don't like the neighborhood. Or also, like she explained that I would be busy with just life and work and stuff. And she would still go out, and by her knowing me, and not knowing me as a friend, but just knowing me as a client, understood what I was looking for. In the beginning, it's like everybody wants a new bill. But I told her straight up, that's not my direction. That's not me. I don't want that. She been trying to force that upon me. It's like, this is what I want. So when you send me stuff like this. And she'll tell me, no, that's probably too small. Or no, the rooms are separate enough. Like, she just knew what I wanted without me even being there. And the funny thing, and I forgot to tell this story about the house. I don't want to keep talking about that house that didn't go under a contract. Well, they fell through, but I didn't even see that house before we put an offer in. She saw the house. I saw it online, and she was like, yeah, let me go ahead and put this in. I trusted her to say, go ahead.
Yeah, that first one was all the way sight unseen. She was traveling with work. She was out of town. I went and previewed it, and I was like, I know she'll love this, and I want her to get it. Let's do it. And I think having that trust and that rapport really, really helped because I could just do my job. And like she said, she knew, well, she's not going to put me in anything that I don't want or that wouldn't be beneficial for me. So, thank you for trusting me in that. And even though it didn't work out, I knew she trusts me. And that's super important for my clients to be able to do. So really, really like that. So do you think, because some people are like, I think I can do it by myself. Do you think people could really, especially if it's their first time buying a home, do you think people can get out there without a realtor and just do it themselves? Would you advise them to even?
Yeah, so two-part question. Can they? Yes. Would I advise them? Absolutely not. Who will want to do something like that? Like, I could probably unclog the toilet, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to get my hands that dirty. I don't want to go doing any work that I'm not specialized in.
Right.
So I would say actually work with a professional. All right. You're not going to go to anybody out the street to get your tooth pulled. You're going to go to a dentist, right? So if you want to buy a house, you're going to go to an experienced realtor.
Yeah. And she just happened to know one.
Yeah.
I just kind of fell out the sky like, hey, I can do it. I can do it. Weird. No. Yeah. So when we were like, okay, it's happening. It's happening. We got to clear the clothes. We're headed to the closing table. What was your feeling in the inside, especially again, after having that other ordeal happen, but when we knew we're headed to the closing table, how did that feel?
I told this story to a few people that I wasn't excited.
Yeah.
I wasn't excited until I got to the closing table, signed the papers, and got the keys, and we were done. I promise you. I was like, I thought something was wrong with me. I felt like everybody around me was more excited than I was. Yeah. But I was not excited until I actually closed. Like, I actually had the keys in my hand and said, this is real. This is really fine happening. And it'll be even realer. It's real. A word? Realer. It's going to be a word. Next, when I pay the first mortgage payment, then that's when it really gets real, right? Yeah, but, it's the excitement for me had been a little later down the road, and I guess because of that first experience.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's dramatizing.
It can be, for real. If you have nobody to go through that with you and guide you through that, I couldn't imagine, you know what I mean? Because, I couldn't imagine. And she wasn't like, at the closing touch, it was really cool. And then afterwards, it was like,
time to take a few swims.
Oh my God, it's happening. That was real. It's real. Yeah. I'm like, baby, we got to clear the clothes. Yeah. We're headed there. Okay, we are almost done. What advice would you have just in general for a first-time home buyer? And I think you covered some of it, but I guess what would be your top 2 things that to tell a first-time home buyer, or 3, whatever you think?
I would say definitely hire a realtor. That's number 1. Do your own homework. Your realtor is there. I mean, she does a lot, but she's support as well. So do your own work too. Make your own charts. Be organized. And number 3 would be, and that's probably should be number 2, is stay within your budget. You're going to go out and you're going to see a lot of stuff and you be like, oh, it's just $600 more. Right. So it's just $2,000 more. And it's like, really? Like, what you go in with, stay strong to it. Like, make sure that you're able to comfortably afford it.
That's right.
So those are S3. I like realtor, organize, and stay within your budget so those 2 can be interchangeable.
I like all 3 of those. I think they are all extremely, extremely important. Okay. Would you be willing to do this again? This is your first home. You might buy another. I don't know. Would you be willing to do this whole process again?
Absolutely. I would be willing to do it again. Now that I know what to expect per se, I know that there's a possibility for disappointments. You can prepare yourself mentally, emotionally for those type of things, and I think it's a wonderful investment that we all should do. So yeah, absolutely, I would do it again and again and again.
Yay! I love repeat clientele, honey. So most people's first home becomes their first rental property, and that's just how it goes. Were we toasted?
Yeah, I did look complete.
That was just a peek inside her own journey. Thank you for doing that and talking real and being honest with the folks. And remember, every journey is unique. It is your own. And if you're in DFW, then I can guide you through just the same way. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.